Hi, I'm Harry Donahue. Welcome to Inside Golf, and we are back for week 2 of our tour of the United States Golf Association Museum in Far Hills, New Jersey. On our previous show, we saw the vast number of trophies and other memorabilia that's on display here at the USGA Museum. Well, today, we're going to take you inside dedicated rooms that honor some of golf's greatest champions. It is a glance of American golf history that you'll find nowhere else. The 27th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Valley Forge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit valleyforge.org. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, celebrating amateur golf since 1897. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA section, the experts in the game and business of golf.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
When you vacation in Montgomery County, PA, your money worries get a vacation too.
Oh, you gotta get your value.
Feel free to explore the soldiers' huts.
Free?
$4, that's it? Keep the lettuce coming, Diane.
Parking is free!
Hey, it's free!
With so many affordable things in Montgomery County, go ahead. Freak out.
Last week, we looked back at the beginning of the USGA Museum. It is the nation's oldest sports museum and the largest museum dedicated to golf. Today, we're going to take a look back at the golden age of golf in the U.S., as presented here at the USGA Museum. We'll also tour some of the sections of very special rooms here at the Golf Museum. Our tour guide, once again, the museum's director, Hillary Cronheim. Good to see you again, Hillary. Thanks for having us. Here we are in the Golden Age display. Now, the Golden Age of golf, I guess you would say, takes us from 1919 to about 1930.
That's correct.
1930 was a very special year. The legendary Bob Jones completed the Grand Slam, won the U.S. Amateur at Merion for completion of that Grand Slam. And you have on display a lot of artifacts from 1930, Merion and Bob Jones.
We do. So we have the ball that Bob Jones used to win the Grand Slam in 1930, which is amazing that that survived. In this case here, we have one of the most famous clubs in our collection. This is Bob Jones' Calamity Jane putter. So he used this putter to win 10 of his 13 titles, including the Grand Slam in 1930.
It winds up here at the museum.
Exactly.
Fittingly so, I might add.
Donated by Jones himself.
Also on display right here in this Golden Age room is a plaque. This was the original plaque from September of 1930 after Bobby Jones completed the Grand Slam at the, 11th hole at Merion, and bingo. There it is. How about that? It now is duplicated on site at Merion, but this was actually the original stone. Well, Bobby Jones certainly dominated amateur golf in that golden age that we were talking about. How about on the women's side of things? Who were some of the dominant players? And their display is also included here.
We have some amazing female champions during the golden age. Here we talk about Glenna Colette Vare, who won a record 6 U.S. women's amateur titles and was an amazing champion. And we also talk about Marion Hollins, who was really a Renaissance woman. She raced race cars, she played polo, She started a female golf course in Long Island and is best known probably for her relationship with Alistair Mackenzie and the design of Pasatiempo and Cypress Point.
This probably is one of the more lesser known things that anybody would even consider happening with the game of golf, but it's a big part of history, golf, and the Second World War.
Exactly. As I mentioned, we try to place golf in the context of social, political, cultural history. The USGA suspended our championships during the First and Second World War. And here we talk about really what was happening with golf during World War II. So we have here some temporary rules from 1941 at Richmond Golf Club in London. And if you read them, the rules are very interesting. So players are asked to collect bomb and shrapnel splinters, how you handle a ball lying in a crater, some unique situations there. And then we also have 2 golf balls that were made out of shoe leather by prisoners of war in a German concentration camp. So it really shows the levels of commitment to the game.
Speaking of golf and wartime, there were 2 distinct periods when there were no USGA events conducted, during the First World War and during the Second. And it's noted here in the Hall of Champions at the museum, correct?
Correct. The USGA suspended our championships during the First and the Second World War, which are indicated here on the plaques in the Hall of Champions. And we did conduct 4 championships in 2020 during the COVID pandemic.
As we continue our tour of the museum, Hillary, you know, there's so much on display here in terms of artifacts, memorabilia, but you even have a large collection that's not on display. You keep it in the vault, and sometimes that escapes the vault and is on display. Tell us about that.
It does. So we have about 85,000 objects in our collection, and we only have about 5% on display, which is actually consistent with most museums that you're familiar with. And we have a state-of-the-art, climate-controlled collection storage facility right below us that we call the vault, where that other 95% of the artifacts live.
There you
go.
But
we also have artifacts related to important historical events. So we have a driver head and a ball found at the rubble of 9/11, and really, again, trying to show people the depth and the breadth of where the game of golf takes us.
Stay with us. Our tour of the USGA Museum continues here on Inside Golf.
The J. Wood Platt Caddy Scholarship Trust is the official charitable arm of GAP. The Trust's mission is to financially aid and empower qualified caddies and those working in golf operations in the pursuit of higher education. Over $25 million has been awarded to more than 3,700 caddies. J. Wood Platt's Empower program strengthens scholarship investment dollars by providing our scholars with exceptional benefits. Visit our website, plattscholar.org, to learn more.
Welcome back to Inside Golf on our tour of the USGA Museum in Far Hills, New Jersey. You know, as much as anything, television was responsible for the growth of the game in the 1960s and 70s. And contrary to what you may think, golf back then wasn't watched on a 65-inch high-definition TV screen. Joining us again, Hillary Kronheim, Museum Director here at the USGA Museum. Hillary, in the 60s, I was around. I don't know you weren't, but I may remember some of these things on display. What do we have here in this display on 60s golf?
2 really interesting artifacts I like to point out. The first is this visor right here that Arnold Palmer used at Cherry Hills in the 1960 US Open. Most people know he sort of has that famous shot where he throws it up in the air.
And that was his first US Open championship,
His only.
right, that he won?
Yes. Fun fact, we actually did not know that the visor was red until it was donated to us because all of our footage was in black and white.
Wow, a lot of sweat marks here. And it looks like Arnold, even his signature is on the bill.
Yes.
How about that? All right, pair of pants, not just an ordinary pair of pants from the 1960 British Open Championship.
Correct. Gary Player wore these pants in 1960 to protest apartheid in his native South Africa, which is why you see one leg that is white and one that is black.
Well, we get a little sample of what fashion, golf fashion, was like back in the 1970s. Let me see who wore this particular shirt. Why don't you tell us?
This shirt was worn by Chichi Rodriguez in the 1970s, who, of course, was well known for his on-course fashion, and I think epitomizes the style of the time.
1973, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, coming from way back to win the Open in red, white, and blue shoes, none other than Johnny Miller, huh?
Exactly. So Johnny Miller shot a final round 63 at Oakmont in 1973. And we have the 10 iron that he used.
A 10 iron?
A 10 iron. Yep, the ball and the shoes.
That's probably a gap wedge in today's terminology. A little bit more of a current vintage, Hillary, is what Tiger Woods did with USGA championships. Probably one of the most prolific decades by one individual in the history of the USGA.
Correct. Tiger Woods won 3 consecutive junior amateurs and 3 consecutive U.S. amateurs from 1991 to 1996. And we have 3 objects here from Tiger's U.S. Open wins. We have a wedge that he used in 2000 at Pebble Beach, a ball from 2002, and the towel from 2008 at Torrey Pines.
As the panel says, Jack Nicklaus, golf's greatest major champion. And Hillary, this is one of 5 rooms dedicated to the memory and the career of 5 great golfers. And for some, he's the GOAT. Others would say maybe it's Tiger Woods. Either way, you can't go wrong. But this room is really the newest room, and it's very, very special.
Correct. So this room opened up in 2015. We had the great pleasure to have Jack and Barbara and the Nicklaus family here with us for the opening. And what makes this room particularly special is we spend a lot of time with Jack and his family talking about his life and his career, and that informed the content in the room. So it's the only part of the museum that's told in first person. What it meant to win the US Open in 1980, and what growing up around the game meant. And it's by far, I think, the favorite of our visitors.
Well, these panels kind of trace the career, the life of Jack Nicklaus in golf. This is early Jack Nicklaus, including the first check he ever won, $33 in Los Angeles. What else is here?
Exactly. This is my favorite part of the room, actually, where we learn about Jack starting to become a pro, his commitment to his family. So like we said, we have his first paycheck for $33.33. And my favorite is a Mother's Day card that he made for his mother in 1950.
Here in the center of the Nicklaus Room, displays that marked the 4 U.S. Opens that Jack won in his career.
Correct. So we have 4 displays in the center of the room that highlight artifacts from each of those U.S. Open wins. 1962, 1967, 1972, and finally 1980 at Baltusrol.
You know, Jack's career has a lot to do with not only what he did on the course as a player, but the courses that he designed. And visitors here will get sort of a glimpse of what golf architecture meant to Jack Nicklaus.
Exactly. One of the unique interactives in this room teaches you about Jack's design philosophy as a golf course architect. So here you can play this game, if you will, to learn about some of those principles. So if you click on the screen.
When we look at a landscape, we sometimes say we will unlock the course from the land.
This is the Mickey Wright room, which, as I say, is currently our only room dedicated to a woman, but hopefully not the last. Mickey Wright, some say the best to ever play the game, won 82 times, 13 major championships, and we have the bulk of memorabilia from her lifetime. And the USGA had the unique situation when she passed away in 2000, that Mickey bequeathed her estate to the USGA. So we had the opportunity to acquire even more artifacts after she passed.
Well, here in Mickey Wright's room, we have clubs, scorecards, clothes. We have a mandolin. What's the connection?
One of the more unique items that we had. So, like many of the LPGA players at the time, Mickey played music, and this is her personal mandolin. And she would play songs with other players, Betty Dodd being one of them, as they traveled from stop to stop.
How about the outfit? That looks like something you could wear out there today.
Exactly. So Mickey had a unique style, which you can see here, her shorts and her sweater and bracelet and shoes, sort of quintessential of her playing career.
There is a particular scorecard of note. It involved 2 Mickeys, Mickey Wright and the great Yankee outfielder Mickey Mantle. And it's funny, Mickey Mantle, I think he shot 35 on the front 9, kind of struggled on the back, but Mickey Wright hung in there with him. How about it?
Exactly.
That's something. A good friend of Mickey Wright's was Ben Hogan. He's the gentleman who said she probably had the greatest swing of all time. And here we are in the Hogan room, an expansive room. And, you know, where do we want to begin? What do you say we take it back to some of the awards that Ben won early in his career? As we'd expect, so many artifacts and medals, whatever, that he won. In particular, this one right in front of us, the Hickok Award. What was that for?
Exactly. So at the center of this case, we have the Hickok Award, which Hogan won in 1953, the most prestigious award in sports, awarded to the Athlete of the Year.
This plaid jacket is pretty stylish, Hillary. It was given to, and still is, the winner of the Colonial event down in Fort Worth. And he only won it 5 times, I think.
Exactly.
Right?
We've got his trophies right below the jacket here in the case.
Well, Ben Hogan's career, of course, spanned decades. Multiple times he was a majors winner. For Philadelphia people at least, one of his big majors came after the tragic accident that he had, came back a year later and won the U.S. Open at Merion. And there is one of the wicker baskets up here.
One of the wicker baskets, which ironically was not used in the 1950 U.S. Open, but is very quintessential Merion as you know it today. And next to it, you see the famous High Peskin photograph from Life magazine, one of the most recognizable images in golf.
Yep, without a doubt. 1953, he finally won the green jacket, multiple winner of the green jacket. But once again, after that accident that he had, won the U.S. Open, and then finally won the Masters. Boy, he probably looked good in that green jacket, didn't he? And he went overseas just once to play in the British Open. What'd he do? He won. Hillary, you know, when you look at this room and how it's filled with artifacts, whether it's clubs or balls or trophies, clothing, how do you go about and decide to pick what you're going to put in here? Because it's expansive. And then, where do you get it from? I mean, it has to be some sort of a cooperative effort with somebody.
Yeah, so in this case, we're blessed to have a great relationship with the Hogan family. So this room was put together after Mr. Hogan's death with Valerie, his widow. And she played a really important role in the objects that were on display in this room, how they were displayed, and we continue to have a very good relationship with the Hogan family. And you know, these rooms are only possible if we have those sort of relationships and the artifacts to share. So it's one of the best examples of a room where we're able to talk about the impact of a champion simply because they were generous with donating the objects to us.
Hillary, this is my 3rd time being at the museum, and every time I come, I see something new. That's what museum life is all about, right?
Exactly.
And we want to thank the USGA, and in particular, the director of the museum, Hillary Kronheim, for taking time out and giving all of our viewers a look at what's available here at Far Hills. It's just a fascinating, fascinating experience.
You are welcome anytime. We're a short ride from Philadelphia, so come and visit us.
Thank you. And stay with us. Coming up next, Teed Off. Welcome back. Inside Golf continues with our Teed Off panel. We're here at Lulu again at the Ross Grill in front of a live audience for Teed Off. Joining us here is Matt Fry. He is the Director of Communications for the Philadelphia section of the PGA. Thanks, Matt. Jeff Armbruster is a member of the board of the Golf Association of Philadelphia. Not just any member, folks, he's the vice president. In his first year, member of Philadelphia Cricket Club. Jeff, thanks for being here. And Jake Markison, he is the vice president of Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Matt, I don't know if you've seen any of these videos on social media that have seemed to pop up where they show a guy getting ready to tee off, and there may be a couple people there that don't know him, and they've been assigned to be in his group, and he's taken forever to get his grip, and 2 minutes over the ball, and he takes this wild swing and it goes sideways. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation. You have a chance maybe to say, hey, you know what, my wife just called, she went into labor, I don't know. How would you handle that thing?
I have been in that situation before. I haven't realized it until I was already out on the golf course. But I was playing up at Lake Placid Club up in New York, and I got paired with a college professor, as it happens, and a very nice gentleman. He was riding a cart, I was walking and carrying, and he was clearly not up on his golf etiquette. You know, he would go to the green with a chipper and a chip up on the green, then walk back to the cart, get his putter, walk back to the green. It was miserable. And if there's one thing I hate on a golf course is slow play. It just drives me up a wall.
Right.
So I, bit my tongue for a few holes, and it got to the point where we were holding people up. And I didn't want to be rude, because I didn't want to ruin this guy's experience and have him not come back to the game of golf because of me. Plus, I had a PJ logo on my chest, so I didn't want to really ruffle his feathers. So, I politely pulled him aside. I said, hey, have you ever thought about grabbing a couple clubs when you go up to the green, even if you might not use them? That way it'll save you a trip to go back to the cart. He goes, no, I haven't thought about that. It took him a few times to get used to that mindset, but by the end of the round, he was much better. Still a little slow, but he had made an improvement.
Dare do I ask, what was his score?
Oh, gosh. I would have to imagine he was well above 115.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a long round.
It was.
How about you, Jeff? Any experiences like that?
Yeah, I mean, nothing probably that extreme, but there's been plenty of times where I've been paired with a new golfer or someone who isn't familiar with the rules or the etiquette, and I think it's important to help them along in their learning of the game and to enjoy the game and their time on the course better, which includes everyone else that they're golfing with. There's a couple of guys I golf with who really do a great job of this. Golf is a big part of their business and entertaining, and a lot of times they're paired with new golfers, and they're so good about teaching them the patience of the game. And so, like whenever I'm in that situation, I think about what these guys would do and try to help them out. And it doesn't just really stop at players. Sometimes you're with a caddy who's new as well. I always feel like you should try to help the person out, and so that they enjoy the game, a little bit better the next time and know a little bit more about the etiquette and what's expected when they're on the course.
Jake?
Yeah, I would echo that. Flip it around. That could be somebody looking at me like, who's this guy, right? But no, I'll give anybody a chance. If I get paired up with them, I'll let it ride for a little bit and use it as a learning experience. But maybe at some point I'll be, pull a Caddyshack moment, judge Smales, and be like, we're waiting, right? But
today.
Right.
Yeah. As a PGA professional, and people know that usually when you show up wearing your logo or whatever, do you feel under pressure being around golfers who aren't as good as you? Or in any way, do you feel compelled not to give a tip? Because sometimes that's the worst thing people need during a round of golf.
Yes, I do feel that a lot, particularly with people I'm not playing with and I know that they're struggling. I will not give advice unless I'm asked for it. Now, there's been an occasion or two where I've been out on the golf course and there's somebody really having a hard time. And they've, kind of given me that look like, and I've told them, like, I'm more than happy to help you, but I'm not going to help you unless you ask, because some people hate it. I would hate it. So if people ask, I'm more than happy to help them out, but I'm not going to go out of my way because they're not asking for it.
I'm sure you play with a PGA professional. Have you ever, like 2 or 3 holes into the round, saying, hey, do you notice anything what I'm doing that could make me a better player, or do you prefer not to do that?
I try to refrain from that because, they're out there, they're not, on the job, giving a lesson. After the round, maybe I'll ask if I'm struggling with something, did you notice anything about my swing? And leave it at that, but we're just trying to have a good time, and so they're off the clock, so I try to respect their time there. And quite often, a lot of these PGA professionals don't get a chance to play a lot, so I try not to intrude on that.
Jake, I'm going to end it with you, a question, a little bit different than what we've been talking about, but an awkward moment, and you'll say to them, what you have on that hole? And they'll say, oh, I had a 5. And you're like going to yourself, like, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, you had a 6.
Yeah.
Do you ever bring it up? Do you ever correct them at that moment?
Just let it go.
Is there an that's an awkward moment, right?
That's just, yeah.
And now if you know somebody, you'd probably say, whoa, wait a minute. You had a 6. If you're someplace with some group that you don't even know, and they say, oh, I had a 5, and you know they didn't, how do you handle that? I don't know. What's the right way to do it? Just put it down there and say,
I think it depends on if there's a match going on.
Right.
Playing for money, that's all.
It's a different band. That's a different ball game.
There's your key. Follow the money.
Exactly.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks to everybody here at Lulu. More of Inside Golf coming up in just a moment. Designed by Donald Ross, Lulu Country Club is one of the premier private golf courses in Montgomery County. This classic 18-hole course boasts a new state-of-the-art clubhouse with many amenities for members to enjoy. Members are invited to play in events, tournaments, and enjoy guest privileges. For more information, contact membership@lulucc.com.
Hi, Tony Salucci with the Beacon Group of Companies. If your company has between 50 and 500 employees enrolled in your health insurance plan, there's a really good chance we can reduce your costs significantly and increase the benefits employees receive. How do we do it? We put you together with several thousand employers of a similar size across the country so your company can get amazing buying power. Schedule a conversation with one of our employee benefits specialists today at mybeacongroup.com.
It has been an honor and a privilege to have spent the last 2 weeks on Inside Golf, sharing with you the trophies, artifacts, and the history of golf that's on display here at the United States Golf Association Museum. This historic museum in Liberty Corner, New Jersey, is a treasure chest filled with memories from a bygone era as well as recent accomplishments. Remember, every episode of Inside Golf can be found on YouTube. Just go to Inside Golf TV on the YouTube app. I'm Harry Donahue. So long from Liberty Corner, New Jersey, and we'll see you next week on Inside Golf. The 27th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Valley Forge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit valleyforge.org. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, celebrating amateur golf since 1897. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.